Welcome to the Stretch Drive. We're back, second edition, picking Saturday's card at Buffalo Raceway alongside Mike Anderson. I'm Paul Clark. Thank you for joining us. For those of you interested, check us out. Check out our blog at thestretchdrive.blogspot.com. We're also on Twitter at stretchdriving. Mike, how about Wednesday's pick? Close to 800 views we got on Facebook.
That is absolutely amazing. People are paying attention.
Hopefully they're making the cash, bro. Hopefully they're making that cash.
Someone's got to.
All right, let's get into it. Saturday's card featured Pacers on tap at Buffalo Raceway Saturday night. First half of the double, we're going to start it off. Race 1, I'm going with the 1, Panalytical. Second start in the Sean McDonough barn. Went 7-hole last week, left, got shuffled, pulled, closed good late. They only went in 59-4. I think this horse will be much better off the rail. Gets aggressive steering. I think Sean will try to put this one on the front. For second, I went to a little bit of a long shot, the 6 Electric Chapel, coming off a very nice qualifier where he was just beaten 158-2. And for third, the 4 Storybook, who closed up a nice fourth in his first start, gets leading driver Billy Davis.
I got some picks a little different than you do this time. I actually went to the 4 on top, going to leading driver Billy Davis Jr. I did use Panalytical for second in the Sean McDonough barn. Big mile last week, draws the rail, should be a factor. And I did go to the 7 Spring Terror for third, probably picking up some pieces late.
Yeah, it did close well, very well in his first start out of post 7 again. Not drawing, not having very much luck.
No luck there, but
at the draw. Moving on to the second race, second half of the double. Again, our favorite race of the night. It starts to pick 5. I'm going to the 2 Andy's Ideal, who drops out of the double A into the A, moves into the 2-hole. I think Ray Fisher will put this one on the front. You know, I think that's where he does his best racing. And I like Andy's Ideal to win the second. For second, I went to the 4, Don McWhite, who made his first start back off coronavirus break last week. Paced 54-4, last quarter 28-3. He's also back in the A. And for third, I went to the 8, Santana Beach, picks up Kevin Cummings, who was a nice wire-to-wire winner last week at 155.
well, I took a shot right here in this race. I went to the 5 Mockalicious for the Monty barn. This horse shows a lot better. 20 claimers coming from Yonkers Raceway. And I did go to the 2 Andy's Ideal second. And to close up the trifecta, I used Don McWhite.
So that kicks off the pick 5. Pick 5, I'm using 2-4 to start the pick 5. Moving on to the third race, I thought this was definitely one of the tougher races of the night. It's a Class B for optional 12-5 claimers. I went to a little bit of a price here. I went to the 6 Wild Bill M for Jim McKnight Jr., and he drives for his dad. It doesn't look like much speed inside of him. I think he'd be able to cross over, maybe get a 2-hole trip behind the 1 Burton Blue Chip. This horse raced well last week. He was first over, big back half, 57-4. I think if he could get a good trip, I like Wild Bill M maybe to spring a little bit of an upset in race 3. For second, I went to the 2 Carlos Danger. Not real strong on this pick. I just thought maybe he got roughed up a little bit too much. I think maybe he could sit in longer this week. Close late, and for the third, I like the 1 Burton Blue Chip, hot lead on stable, but this one moves up in class for Denny Bucherri.
Got the same numbers, different orders, so if you're listening out there, make sure you box it. I went to the 1 on top, Burton Blue Chip, draws the rail again. Nice mile last week, getting Denny Boo Boo back in the bike. I did use Carlos Danger for second, figure he's going to get a nice trip. And I went to Wild Bill third.
Box it up in race 3. Moving on to race 4, this is one of my better bets of the night. I love the 1 Manceiver in this race. I think Kevin will be on the point with this one. This horse does his best work on the front end. Just missed in his first 2 starts of the season. Raced really well last week. Just got beat by Miles Rockstar. For second, I went to the 5 Barry Hanover. Drew Monty back in the bike. This horse has been loaded with pace in his first 2 starts. And for third, the 4 Thor de V, who just hasn't fired. This horse is better than he shows. And I'm just waiting for him to come back to that big mile. To round out the super, I went to the 2 PC's Espresso. It's got good initials, and I think he'll get a good trip. and suck along for fourth. So there's my super in the fourth. I like the 1 Manceiver over the 5, 4, and 2.
Again, I'm pretty close on the numbers here, so you might want to box it again. I went to the 5 Barry Hanover. Good closing mile the last 2 weeks. Gets Drew back in the bike. I picked the 1 for second Manceiver. I mean, just like PC said, Kevin Cummings off the rail. And I went to the 4 Thor de V for third because he obviously does show much better, and he's just waiting to click. And to round out the super, I went with the 6 American Nation out of the race stable.
Can't ever go wrong with that stable. Race 5, first half of the mid double, exacta try. Wagering in this event, I went to the 4 Daylight Rush for Dave McKnight III, who was a beaten favorite last week, the blue on black. I think this horse is just better than these. For second, I went to the 2 Burning Shore. Got claimed last week from the Jerry Cerama barn, one of 3 that David Russo took off the Cerama stable last week. Burning Shore moves to the 2, gets Drew Monty in the bike for third, the 5. Bahama Bay, who was absolutely tortured last week, 3 wide, just past the half. They went a real big back half. He did falter a little bit, but still only got beat 3 lengths. And for fourth, I went to the 6 Miles Rockstar. Gets Kevin off a wire-to-wire winner. I think this one will be able to pick up some pieces late and get in the super. 4, 2, 5, 6 in the 5th.
Well, I went to the fresh claim. I picked the 2 on top, Burning Shore, into the David Russo barn. Always got to watch that. For second, I picked the 4 Daylight Rush. And for third, I went with Miles Rockstar, thinking he might get a second over trip, maybe behind Bahama Bay.
Moving on to race 6, exacta try super wagering in this event. This is one of my better bets of the night, if not my best bet. I love the 4 Utah Beach. Raced really good in his first start for Sean McDonough on the bike. This time gets leading driver Billy Davis. I mean, Mike, this horse closed back half at 56 and change in his first start. This one does his best work on the front. I think he's in a spot where he could get the front in here. I like the 4 Utah Beach a lot in race 6. For second, I went to the 3 Lucky Nato Tremblay. Got to start off a good qualifier. I think this one will be much better tonight. For third, I went to the 5 Sir Richie, beaten favorite last week off the rail. And for fourth, I went to the 1 Montezuma Blue Chip, could suck along and finish out the super.
Well, I went a little different way in this race. I actually went to the 5 Sir Richie, thinking maybe the 3 and the 4 both might take a shot at leave out of there. I did go to the 3 Lucky Nato Tremblay second for the Sean McDonough barn. For third, I went a little farther out and picked up Mateo. Raced good last week. And for fourth, I went to the rail on the 1 Montezuma Blue Chip, picking up some pieces.
Moving on to race 7, first part of the pick 4, exacta try wagering. I went all the way to the outside to class 6. This horse was absolutely giant last week. Wire to wire in 154, back half in 56 and 2. Does get post 8, which is not good. But if I look inside, I don't think there's much gate speed, if any, that could press him enough to get him beat. I think for the Red Hot Sabrina Shaw barn, Kevin Cummings gets this one to the winner's circle. For second, the 3 Blue on Black was giant last week off the rail. Again, lead on fire last Saturday night. He won 3 in a row. I like this one. Sean McDonough gets along well with this horse. He will close and be a big piece of this one. And for third, the 6 Cultural Paradise made his first start last week. Did close real well against open pacers. Gets a little class relief. So in race 7, I went to the 8 class 6 with the 3 Blue on Black and the 6 Cultural Paradise.
Yeah, I mean, class 6 must use. I actually picked him for second. I went again to the fresh claim to the David Russo barn. Always seems to pick him up. Jim's great out of the 4 hole. 10-1 morning line, so watch them numbers on the board. Like I said, I went to the 8 for second, class 6, excuse me. Sabrina's just on fire right now too. 8 hole, I don't think it's gonna matter much here. And for third, I went to Blue on Black, hard closer, Sean McDonough on the bike.
Moving on to race 8. This is the open pace of the night. They go for 12,000. This one's gonna be a fast event. Exacta, try, superfecta wagering. If you watch replays, go back to opening Saturday night. Watch the 2 Mr. Euroman. Got absolutely trapped, had tons of pace. Got stuck behind, I believe it was Andy's Ideal and Moral. I think Billy Davis, if he could get this one to the front, will be awfully tough to beat. The one, Polak A, Sabrina Shaw, and Sean McDonough. This one got a much-needed start last week off 3 months, off a $30,000 claim. Was a very nice second. And for third, I like the 5, Hold the Gold. Moves back into the A, double A again, off 2 wire-to-wire winners. Goes from Morrill to Kevin. Kevin's very capable. I think this one will be in the hunt for fourth. I like the 6. I love to make money. Was a beaten favorite last week. Was first over on China Dream. His little legs won't be churning this week. He's not racing. Mr. Euroman gets the call this week. I love to make money for fourth. I like 2, 1, 5, 6 in the open.
I went to 3, Black is Back. I think he might fire right out of there, try to get to the front. There's some early speed in there too. Might have a speed duel on the front. However, I like the way he closed last week, nice mile. For second, I went to the 1, Polak A. Again, nice mile last week. Second, 2, Hold the Gold. Again, Sabrina Shaw, trainee. And for third, I went to the 5, Hold the Gold. Like you said, going to Kevin, obviously capable, great rangeman. And for third, I did use the 2, Mr. Euroman.
Moving on to race 9, Exacta Tri Superfecta Wagering. Real head scratcher here for optional 4 claimers, Class D event. I went to the 1, Beachy Dreamer. This looks like a now or never race for the 1, Beachy Dreamer. No speed in the race, should dictate the fractions. Just beat a neck last week to Media Queen and Time All Lucky and Pink would both be heavy favorites off the rail in here. I like the 1, Beachy Dreamer quite a bit in this race. For second, I went to a little bit of a price to 5, the Dog in the Fight. Drew Monty drives for Andy Torrey. The source closed last quarter 29 last week. Did have a couple nice starts in Batavia last year. He went in 55. I think if they could get this one close to that, he's definitely going to be in the hunt. For third, the 3, Darth Bader. Ray Fisher drives for Lisa Mariacker. And for fourth, the 2, Just Call Me Betts for Denny Bucherry. I think could pick up some pieces and be fourth. 1, 5, 3, 2 in the 9th with Beachy Dreamer getting the call.
I agree with you. I went to the 1, Now or Never for Beachy Dreamer, drawing the rail in here. Probably going to be a big favorite. I went to the 2 for second, Just Call Me Betts. Probably going to suck along, get a nice trip behind the 1. For third, I did go to the Dog in the Fight. Has tough time drawing. This time draws a little bit better, and it's Drew in the Fight.
Yes.
And to round out the Superfecta, I actually went to the 6, Red Carpet tonight.
Moving on to race 10, also Exacta Tri, 10-cent super wagering. I went to the 3, Rock the Dream. This doesn't look like a very tough C event to me. I think Rock the Dream will, I think Ray Fisher will, come off the pace like he normally does with this one. I just think he's the best horse in the race, sharpest horse right now. For second, the 1, Articus, 2 8 holes. This one will 100% be the dictator of fractions in here. It's just a matter of how long he lasts. If you're gonna box it up, that's a good bet. I think you could box 1, 3 in this race. For third, I went to the 6, Just Chillin' It. Goes over to the Sean McDonough barn. I think will close up nice to be third. And for fourth, I went to the 5, Red Rolls. Had 2 nice starts to start the season.
I agree with you. Exacta, box up 1, 3. I got Rock the Dream on the front, Articus second, cutting the fractions out. I went to actually Red Roll for third. And for fourth, I went to the 7, Peter Pumpkin Eater. I actually liked the way he raced last week.
Nice opening start. Moving on to race 11, starts the late pick 3, Exacta Tri, also in this race. I went to the 3, Xenia's Chip. This is a nice looking 3-year-old filly out of Heston Blue Chip. She had a really nice qualifier where she was a winner in 158 and 2. I think this horse has a lot of potential this year to be a decent filly. For second, I went to the 1, Ain't No Stoppin', who raced really good in his first start. I think this one will probably be the one that cuts the mile. For third, I went to the 4, How Matt's Blackjack for Brad Jackson. Got his first start for that stable last week. Just went around twice. I think Brad will be a little more aggressive this week and give this horse a shot. I like 3, 1, 4 in race 11.
I actually went to the 1 on top in here, Ain't No Stoppin'. I think Kyle Cummings is going to hustle this one right out of the gate. For second, I went to the 3rd, Xenia's Chip. Looks like a nice up-and-comer. Out of a nice mare, Xenia Hanover, that raced on the Batavia Buffalo circuit for a long time. And for third, I actually went to This Way or the Highway. A little roughed up mile last week, closed up good. I think he might be in a little better spot here this week.
Moving on to race 12, first half of the late double, exacta try wagering. Now this race, Mike, is very tricky because you look down at the 7 PL Lester, who has tons of speed.
Tons.
Doesn't always mind his manners, but if you look down to that bottom qualifier, he went in 155-4, and then he came out and really did not perform well in his races. Something was obviously bothering him. They quit with him in October, didn't bring him back till June. The qualifier last week, if you watched it, announcer Wayne Teven did show the qualifiers on Facebook Live. If you could go back and watch this qualifier, this horse looked fantastic. Sean was, just holding on the whole mile, never really asked this horse to go. I think if PL Lester is that PL Lester, I think he's much the best. If you could get 6-1, thank the heavens. So I'm going PL Lester on top. For second, I like Jimmy CR, not Jimmy RC.
Not Jimmy RC.
No, it's Jimmy CR for second. For third, I like the 1 Way to Go Fabio, closed really good in his first start. For fourth, I like the 5 got a meeting, not a super though, so that really doesn't matter. But throw him in the try because he could possibly be third.
We got a meeting next week, I think.
We do. We usually have a meeting a lot.
Well, I agree with you. The 7 PL Lester, big qualifier. Just a matter of if he minds his manners or not. If he does, I mean, if you get 6-1 on this horse, it's a gift.
I mean, 42,000 last year, went 52-2 at Pocono. Just has the license to be. I mean, he's the best horse in the race. It's just.
I mean, for second, I went to the 1 Way to Go Fabio. Nice mile last week, draws a rail, drew in the bike. And for third, I went to Jimmy CR, not Jimmy RC.
No. Moving on to the last exacta try 10-cent super event. I probably will make this my best bet of the night. The 1 Mock Stock and Barrel absolutely jogged last week in a $4,000 claiming event. Right back where he is again tomorrow night I should say. Draws the rail, Maria Rice, Billy Davis. I look for much the same of last week where this one just goes down the road. He was under wraps last week. Mock Stock and Barrel ends the night with a win. For second, the 4 Wrangler Rockstar ranked sneaky good last week, last quarter 28-4, bad post. For third, the 2 Sure Please has never seen this bunch, is down in class. We'll get a good trip in here. Will definitely be a factor. For fourth, I like the 8 Getting Drunk on a Plane. Closed well in his first start back. Moved down to a D. I think he could close up late, pick up some pieces for the super.
I agree with you. I'm on board with Mock Stock and Barrel. And then I actually went to the 7 for second. I mean, he's a lever.
Yeah.
He's going to be out of there.
100%.
I think he's going to get to the front or sit in a 2-hole. For third, I went to Wrangler Rockstar. Sneaky good mile.
Yeah.
And for
Absolutely.
fourth, I went with the 2 Sure Please. Never been down this low. Going to get a trip.
Absolutely. So there's our picks for Saturday night, Buffalo Raceway, June 20th. Like we said earlier, 800 views for Wednesday's card. We did throw out some winners. I gave the early double. Mike had some winners. My live long shot and best bet won. Mike's best bet won. We gave out 4 out of 5 in the pick 5. All we missed was Moral at $32, which you never see. The pick 5 was huge. Hopefully tomorrow night we could finish it off and catch this pick 5. Don't forget, follow us, our blog, The Stretch Drive at blogspot.com, Twitter at Stretch Driving. Join in the fun. We're just having some fun. Interested in harness racing, we're the site to follow, The Stretch Drive. We'll see you later. Have a good night.